many of you all use Arduinos or microbits? How many of you are interested in doing the Nmsu USA competition? It's a lot of fun. I did it for 7 years at the USA, and for 7 years we went to nationals, and my students got first in nationals 4 times in a row, and they got 2 seconds and a silver. Did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. So, in your experience, do you start with Tinkercad and then go with the coding, or start with the coding then go with the
So they're both on Tinkercad. So I usually start with the 3D modeling.
first?
Yeah. But you don't have to. I mean, it's up to you how you want to start. They don't have to be together. They could be separate. Like, if you just want to do 3D modeling and use Tinkercad for just 3D modeling, you could just use it for just 3D modeling and stuff like this. If you want to use Tinkercad for the circuits, like the lesson that we're going to do today, then you could just use it just for circuits. But it's really good for both. The kids really like the 3D modeling a lot. They use it a lot for other classes too. Like they told me their history teacher had them, design a building or I don't know something, and they would do it on Tinkercad, and their teachers are all impressed. But they don't have to just use it for the MESA class or MESA after school program. So this is something that they could use for a lot of other classrooms.
It has like design and stuff like that.
It does have pre-made designs. I'll show you. So whenever you want to get to the home page, you just have to click these little tiles right here in Tinkercad. But so right here, I'll show you around really quick. This is the home screen right here. This is where the classes would be added. Then these are your designs, like things that you have already created. That's my 3D designs, circuits, and code blocks. I never really used that one. So those are the circuits that I was messing around with. When I retired, I guess you could say, from the district, they kicked me out of everything, so that's why there's only a little bit of stuff, but I had a lot. This is my personal account now. So these are the tutorials where you can, these are the tutorials I've completed, I should say. Then here where it says resources, this is where you would go to the Learning Center, right here. And this is where I had my kids start, like, do these, and keep going. So they could keep going, and it shows them how to do things like rotate, size it, group it, how to copy, duplicate, hide things, align things, create holes. So it pretty much shows them step by step how to do all of this. So you guys can do this later on today if you want, or another day. This is the one that I have here. One of the tutorials. It shows them step by step how to create this one. But if you go to create, I'm going to go back to the home page right here, this plus where it says create, and you go to 3D design, it'll take you to a blank workspace. And then you were asking if there's already things here. And so here on the side, you have the basic shapes here. And then you can go to other things that are already here, like little creatures, characters, hardware, electronic stuff, games, everyday objects. This is where they went to find stuff to make their rubber band car when I did that for a challenge for the rubber band car. So they can find like dowels and things that are already modeled here. But also, like if they're looking for something specific and they don't find it there, there's always things already out in the internet, right?
Yeah.
So they could always go like, I don't know, give me something.
School bus.
A school bus. And they can find one. So So once they find one, they would go here and they would just click copy and tinker, and it would create a copy of them for themselves. So you can pretty much find everything already out there.
So it really make me say like, just like their name in cursive, like a little, huge font. Or does everything have to be like?
No, you can scribble. This is the super flexible right here. So they can, but then there's also this one, the text for their name, like if they want to do a name tag. Okay, so back to the list. So if you go to the create, the plus sign, and then choose circuits, I want to do a lesson with you all on this one because I know that a lot of you guys are going to be interested in the 3D modeling, but that one, it has a lot of tutorials and you guys can probably figure it out. So I wanted to do the circuits with you so that I can show you some tips and tricks for you all to get your students started on it. If you can go to this, it's a doc. You could either use the QR code or the URL. There's about 20-something lessons on Arduino with a brand called Aligu. Has anybody heard of that brand? Yeah. So basically, Aligu is a knockoff version of Arduino's, and it works exactly the same. And it has a box called the Super Starter Kit that has a whole bunch of sensors already in it. And that's the one that I use with my students. And there's like 21, 22, 23 lessons that are already created for you. And this is one of the lessons that's already in the whole thing. And they're free. And you can Google the lessons, by the way. They'll pop up on a PDF. So if you just type Aligu lessons or Aligu Arduino's lessons PDF, it'll pop up. And the whole lesson book will pop up for you if you want to use these. You can actually use almost all of the lessons with Tinkercad. You don't have to have the physical Arduino kits or the Aligu kits. You can use all of those lessons and you can have the kids do it with Tinkercad. So I'm going to show you how. Is everybody here? Can I move this? So this is the handbook that I'm talking about. It comes with 20-something lessons for the Aligu kit. But what I did is I just basically copied and pasted like the main part of the lesson here for lesson 7, the passive buzzer. And it starts with an overview of like what the kids are gonna learn. This lesson they're gonna use the passive buzzer, and then the purpose of it is to generate the 8 sounds, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And so then it shows them what components they're gonna need. So when they go here to create circuits, they already know what things they need to pull out from the sidebar right here where the components are. And they're gonna need the Aligu Uno, but you can actually edit this and type Arduino Uno because they might get confused. Aligu is just the knockoff cheap version of the Arduino. So you're gonna find the Arduino Uno and you're gonna grab it and pull it to your workspace. Can you guys see? Nice away. And then you need a passive buzzer, which the Tinkercad only has one buzzer. It's this PSO one right here. You're gonna grab it and you're gonna pull it onto your workspace. We're going too fast?
No.
And then you're gonna need 2 female male wires. And those, you don't need to pull those out from here because those are created automatically. Once you click and then drag over to here, they create the wires for you. So I'm not gonna pull those out, but I would do this for the physical lesson, like the kids would actually pull the stuff out of their little boxes. This goes over like what the PSO buzzer, passive buzzer is, and then it has the wiring diagram, so it shows the kids how they would wire it. Then I have the code already here copied and pasted so that all they have to do is copy and paste it into either the Tinkercad or the Arduino IDE, depending on whether you're doing it in real person. So the first thing that you wanna do is look at the wiring diagram. After, like if you were teaching this, you would go over all of that stuff, like the electronics if you want to. And then you have the kids plug in the wires. This one's really easy, it just requires 2 wires. So you would grab this one. This is the positive, if you see the little plus sign. And in the physical one, you could see a little plus sign too. So this one is gonna go, does anybody know in electronics which color is positive, which color is negative?
Red is positive, black is negative.
Yeah. Red is positive, black is negative. So I'm gonna take this one, and where was it plugged in the picture?
8.
8, so pin 8. So these right here, they're the Arduino digital pins. Basically digital just means they can be on or off. And there's a couple that were kind of like analog, but this one's just on or off. So to change the color, if you are OCD like some people with me, you can change the color here to red, like that. I don't like how this is like a little bit flipped from my other picture, but you're gonna have to crisscross it. So this one is the negative, and negative on Arduino is GND, which means ground. And then you go to black, so there. It's a little bit different from the picture because on this one you have to. So that's pretty much it. You just completed your first circuit on the Tinkercad. Then, as a teacher, I would have the kids come up here. It's probably one of the first things they should have been doing, but you could have them label it lesson 7, and it was the passive buzzer. There's an active buzzer that play music. And that way, when you go to check their work, you can quickly check that they completed their work. If not, then it gives them random names and it would be hard for you to figure out which one it is without actually opening each of their projects. Okay, so the next thing that, once they have it wired, is everybody wired? Everybody good? All you have to do is just copy and paste the code, which is on the next 3 pages. So you're going to copy this whole code. It's really long. How many of you guys like coding? Not a lot, right? So all the codes for all the lessons are there. You don't have to write the code. So they literally just copy and paste the code. So all you have to do is go right here to where it says code in this top right corner, and then you see that the kids can use blocks to actually code. I'll show you one right now if we have time to do it. But where it says blocks, there's a pull down. Change that to text, and then push continue. And this is the text for the blocks that was already there. It's always going to be there. Just delete it, delete that, and then paste the one that was in the doc. So I went to code. I went to code right here. And then I changed it, this little drop down from blocks to just text. Just text. And then I erased what was here. And I pasted the code from the doc to here. Once I'm there, then you can close the code and then push start simulation. So those of you who don't really like coding, and like I said, there's everything already out there pretty much. So you can go to Google and just type in Arduino songs. This first one right here on GitHub, it has a lot, so you can look through these. Oh, before, just really quick. Right now, do you see how this is plugged into pin 8? See how the Arduino is plugged into pin 8? If you look at the code after this is just like all of the code for the notes that need to be played. But if you look right here, I can see that this code is made for pin 8. And every coder codes differently, so this person coded it this way, but a lot of these that are on the GitHub, let me pick one really quick. Actually, I think I have it right there. This Pirates of the Caribbean. It's right here. This coder did it like this. They said buzzard equals 10. So you want to look at the code to see if you see something like that, buzzard equals, and then what number it is. Because if you copy and paste this code, it's really easy to copy code from GitHub, by the way. Just click this button right here, copy. And then I'm going to paste it here. Let me just delete all of this. Paste that new one. And then I'm going to push start simulation, play. Well, nothing's going to happen, and you're going to think that you messed up or something's not happening, right? Well, the reason why it's not playing is because the code says that the buzzer is supposed to be plugged into pin 10, and I have it plugged into pin 8. So there's two ways to fix it. What can you do?
Change the wire.
Change the wire or
Change the code.
change the code. So whichever one the kids prefer. Usually just show them say you can change the code, you can change the wire. Resources, Learning Center, and here the 3D, just scroll down past those. These are the Learn Circuit tutorials so that you can start, learning more of the circuits. It starts with just basic circuits, no Arduino, just like a battery and an LED resistor.
It sounds right.
Then it has the Arduino, then it has some others. Just click view all and it has more.
Resources.
So the kids can follow those tutorials as part of your class. Somebody mentioned that if you don't want the wires crisscrossed, you can click the component, which is this one, and then flip it up here, the flip tool, or flip tool. Good idea. Are there any other questions about the circuits?
It's supposed to be bad.
Maybe we went a little too fast.
Went too fast?
No, for the song. The song he was trying to play.
It's not gonna
Yeah, it doesn't play them that great. Like the quality of the sound on your speaker isn't that great. But if you actually download, so once you finish playing with this and you like it, if you actually have the physical components, you can wire them really quick, and then you could just copy and paste this code into the Arduino IDE or Code Vendor, however you guys do it. You can't download it straight from Tinkercad onto your Arduino. You have to copy and paste this code that you've made into another IDE that you can teleport it to Arduinos, right? So upload it. You would just copy and paste this into it, and then it would play. And it plays a lot better on the actual components than on Tinkercad. Sometimes it squeals here on Tinkercad, but it's okay. Just for simulating and modeling.
So how do I go back if I closed it and I want to go back to the lesson?
So if you closed this,
Yes.
you could always go back to your home screen with these little tiles right here, the Tinkercad logo. If you go here, and then you're gonna go to designs right here, and it actually pops up, it should pop up right here. Just scroll, actually you have to go to circuits right here. You have to move it to circuits.
Okay.
Right there, and you should be able to find it there, the one that you were just working on. This is the one I was just working on, so I could open it. Any other questions? You guys are fast. Nice to students would have taken a little bit longer, but I would have gone into more details. So the Learning Center, if you guys want to try this and work on it right now, you can go back to the homepage under resources. They have, actually they have lessons here, lesson plans if you guys are interested in looking at those. There aren't a lot, but there's some good ones. The Learning Center right here is where the tutorials are. So if you click that, you have the 3D tutorials that you guys can work on if you want right now. Or the circuits, if you're more into circuits. And they have the tutorials for the code blocks also. I never really used the code blocks with my students, so I'm not sure. Did anybody use that one? I used it. Right yet? They're new, but yeah, these two are pretty good. And you could also use the microbit. I don't know if you guys noticed it when you were creating the circuits, all the components they have here on the side. They have the microbit here. So if you guys like the microbit, that one's a JavaScript instead of C++. But yeah, all of the Elegoo lessons, I was showing them over here that I just Googled Elegoo Superstarter lessons, and it takes you here. You find this. And if you scroll, this is where I downloaded all of those lessons. It comes with a PDF that has the lessons, but it also comes with another folder that has all the code. So I kind of had to combine it. When I did my lessons, I had to combine it. Because this one, it's meant for the kids to use the Arduino IDE. So before when I did this, I had like all these files on the computers of the students. So they would just have to go and copy the code from the folder. They would have to find it and then put it on the Arduino IDE. This was a long time ago. But if you just scroll through this, get to the lessons. The first lesson is Blink. So
How did you get to the lesson here?
this one, I just Googled Elegoo Superstarter lessons, Superstarter Kit lessons.
Like, how do you spell LED?
Elegoo, ELEGOO,
Superstar?
Superstarter Kit lessons. And then it takes you to this website, and then it should take you straight to this one. And if you scroll down a little bit, it'll show the two links. And one is just to download it as folders, and the other one's like if you want to put it on your Google Drive, they're both the same. Lesson one is actually nothing, it's just setting up your Arduino IDE. So I created my own lesson one actually. I called it like Blink 1, Blink 1.2 or something. I had so this first lesson that they do, which is the actual one where they get started with the Elegoo, lesson 2, Blink, they have to use the light that's already on the Elegoo, which is also just another name for Arduino, just another brand, the knockoff brand. But this onboard LED can be used to kind of like troubleshoot so that you can see if everything's working good. It already comes with an LED here, and that is connected to pin 13. So anything that you program this one to do, pin 13 will also be programmed to do. So they kind of start them easy. They just have them upload the Blink code, and it'll start blinking. That's pretty much what the lesson is. And then the next one that I created on my own, so that there was a lesson 1 because I didn't want it to be lesson 2. I just had them plug in an actual LED on here through the pin 13 and ground. So instead of like having the kids copy and paste the code into the Arduino IDE, what I did is I went to the folder where where it downloads, see if I still have it here. Yeah, this folder, it has you go to English, it has the code in a separate folder. And so what I did is I went to the code, so lesson 2 doesn't require code, or 3, but lesson 4 is the first one that requires code, you see it right here. And so I just opened the code, and then I copied and pasted this into my doc. And I had all of the Google Docs with all the lessons already. So I copied and pasted like the instruction part, the overview, the components they need, the little background, and whatever I saw that was important. None of this is important because they're not going to use the Arduino ID. They're going to use Tinkercad or the actual physical kit if you have those. So I skipped all of that, and then just pasted that and the code, and that's it. So you can look through this and say, okay, yeah, I want them to read all this. They need to know about what a breadboard is, how it works. I want them to continue reading this. They need to read about LEDs and how they work. The long leg is positive and the short one is negative. So they can read about all that. And then resistors, what are they? How do they work? More about them, just background. I don't know if you guys want them to know about this. That's just, I guess, high school level. I don't know. My middle school students, some of them were interested in that, so they wanted to, they each of these stripes means something. So you can figure out which resistor it is just based on its stripes. If you guys do the schematics, I don't know if you guys do. I don't really go into that in middle school. I just skip to the wiring diagram. I copy and paste this into the lesson. And then here's an actual physical picture of what it would look like. And then I paste the code from over here. So I put it together and made the Google Docs. Okay, so I'm going to go to a 3D design that I have. Let's say that you want to, this one has a so the question was, how do you transfer this to 3D print? Yeah. So here's just a box that was made, and if you're ready to 3D printed, everything looks good, and you're just gonna push export right here, and then you can choose what to export, usually STL file, and then it'll start exporting. Once you export it, you're gonna find it in your downloads. It's still going, it's taking a while. And then from there, you would have to put it into your slicing software. So, what do you use? Do you have the flashboard? You can download the flashboard or Hero or another slicing software. And then you just open it through there. You're gonna open it through there, and then you're gonna save it as a G file, and then save it on your flash drive, take it and plug it into the 3D printer. That's how I usually do it. Then you can find it on there and you can print it. This is one of the lessons that was on there too, that you guys can have the kids do if you want and get it 3D printed. If you wanted to put the circuit parts, it only requires 3 things, which is this little vibration motor, this switch, and 3-volt point cell battery, the 2032, and then they put it together. I soldered it. I recommend soldering it. I was trying to put it together just like tape, but it wasn't holding. And then when it vibrates, it moves the wire, so I think it's best to solder. You know how to do that? You can do it for the students if you want. Or if you want to teach them how to solder, you can. And then it buzzes and it shakes. just made a Moana necklace for my daughter too. It has a light on the inside, so her birthday party's coming up and it's a Moana birthday party. So I modeled it and I printed it and I put it together. She hasn't seen it yet. I think she'll really like it. It's the heart of Tahiti.
Oh,
Moana. And
Nice.
so it has the light on the inside and it's closed. But a lot of things you can find on the internet, like I said. And if you find something, you could always copy it and tinker it here on Tinkercad, and then you can 3D print it.
His last year, we tried to get computers and credit and stuff.
Thank you all for coming and listening.